or I did want to go away to college, but my dad and my mom didn't want me to.
Was there a time you ever felt like you wanted to give up in business? And what kept you going?
And you remember MP3 got big,
Yep.
iPod?
Mm-hmm.
So we were swapping out everybody's factory radio for a radio
MP3.
that could put an MP3 into it.
For that person that's out here thinking that you're wasting your money on a premium gym membership, you're not paying for the membership. You're paying for a transformation in who you are.
What are you out there accomplishing?
Right.
So you got a problem with something that I'm putting on?
Right.
You got a problem with the way I run my gym? Where's your gym at?
Right.
How much it helps with mental health?
Okay, tell me more about that.
Too many people think it's medication. Nobody gets it other than other business owners. So it's hard to converse and have good conversations with people that don't get it. Even to this day, like with my closest friends group, I recently created a small little friends group that is all built on like, are we working out tomorrow? Dad, how many you got now? And he's double digits. And I was like, okay, when did you do? Oh, I didn't tell you, but I bought these last two just last week.
So, welcome to another episode of the Gilberto Herrera Show. This is going to be a special episode because I have someone on the side of me whom I have watched, gotten to know for years, and they continue to push the envelope. Most success podcasts only talk theory. Today, this guy's going to bring the raw, the real, and he's got the receipts to prove it. So, who am I? Who is this person on the side of me? Some people call him Boulos. Some people call him Paul. I call him my brother. He's built companies like, I don't know, Fit 5 Meals maybe. You may have heard of him. Overtime Bar. And can't forget the Gauntlet Fitness, which is one of my favorite places to visit when I do want to get an intense kickboxing style workout. This guy right here, not only is he an amazing business owner, but he's an amazing family man. He weaves both worlds perfectly in a way that most people struggle to. If you ever go to his Instagram or his Facebook, he has fun with what he does, and that's what we all aspire to do. We want freedom, and we want to do things that are fun. So without further ado, I present to some and reintroduce to others Paul Boulos Shunnarah. What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm well,
After
man.
that intro, I think we're good. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Man, you know, it's interesting to have you here because we've known each other for years.
That's like 12 years now.
It's crazy. 12 years, and I've gotten to see the rebrand of a couple of your businesses.
Yep.
I've watched Fit 5 take off, Overtime, and what you did with that. But more importantly, man, I got to know you on a personal level, and we have conversations. We inspire each other. And this is one of those episodes for me where you're someone that's like a brother to me, but also you're at a level that most people aspire to be. But you're also a hidden gem because you don't make it a point to be extremely popular.
Yeah. And I don't, I start thinking a lot lately, like I think that may have been, I'm trying to do that now with things like this because I realize how much more it could help me with my business. But I did make the mistake early on of just, I'm a lot like the Shunnarahs in the sense of like, it's the work hard part.
Absolutely.
That you put on the forefront. And I'm really understanding it more now of like, no, get out there. Tell people what you do.
Yeah.
It's only going to draw more to your business.
So let's get right into that, right? So everybody knows your name and they know the success of just the Shunnarah name and what you've accomplished. But what's a part of your journey that, people don't know about, or if you told it, most people wouldn't even believe?
The coolest one of all three businesses, well, there's a couple. So the first one was at 18. So I didn't want to go away to college. I did want to go away to college, but my dad and my mom didn't want me to. My dad wanted me to hang back and work with him, small business entrepreneur, property manager. And I'm first generation, so my family's from Palestine. So you can imagine the grind this family's been through. And he offered me an opportunity where, hey, stay back, go to college here at UAB, build your grades up, and then go do what you want. But stay back home first, live with your grandmother, 78, 80-year-old woman. Live at her house while you're in college. Imagine being told that, right? And so I lived with my grandmother, and my dad came to me within the first semester at UAB. I was 18 years old, and he said, "You want to invest in our new business?" I had about $10,000 in the bank. I'd worked for a law firm here, Corey Watson, and had just saved up money from that. And then in my family, when you graduate high school, when people give gifts, it's money. So I'd saved that money. And my dad came to me. He said, "How much do you have?" I said, "I've got like 10,700." He says, "Give me a check for 10,000. You're gonna pay for the paintings of our new business. So they're gonna paint the walls and do all the drywall work." I had grown up in the stereo business, worked on cars, wheels, tint, tires, stereo system boomboxes way back before cars came with them, like in the early 2000s. And then growing up in the 90s, that's what my dad owned. He owned Automotive Concepts on the corner of Green Springs. So he says, "Give me the $10,000 and you're going to be a 10% owner of this business." Man, I was always, even in high school, I sold candy. You know what I mean? Always trying to find a way to make a dollar. And so it just inspired me. I was like, I'm all in, right? But I remember thinking, like, "Dad, but what am I going to do? Like, that leaves me with only $700. Like, where you're living, we own the home you're living in. You don't have rent. You don't have power. All you got to do is make sure your grandmother's taken care of." So it was hard at first, the first 6 months to a year. Every time I talked to my friends down in Tuscaloosa or Auburn, they were always doing something fun. It was brutal, man. I remember just lying to them at times, like them asking me what was going on the weekends. I was, "Oh man, we went to this crazy party. It was so much fun. We did that. We did this." When the reality was, like, at 9 p.m., I had to make sure my grandmother was still breathing and to sleep in her room.
Wow.
Yeah. So I lived with her. We started this business. It was called Appearance Car Audio. It was on Green Springs right up. My dad had owned the building. It came available to us. And he had another location out in Hoover, and we brought it to Homewood. A lot bigger space, and it took off, man. It was my passion. It was something I thrived at. So while I was in college at UAB getting my business degree, in class, man, teachers talking, my notebook was out. If you go through my notebooks, I still have them. It was me pricing out subwoofers, speakers, buy one, get one for free packages, promos that would get people in the door, using things like Best Buy's theories of like bait and switch. You know, $99 TV, but you get in, it's sold out, but they have one for $129. You know? So I started encapsulating all of what I was learning in school and what I saw in the business world into this business. And man, we fully elevated it. Within like 5 years, I had won awards in my sales in that store. And so big companies like Rockford Fosgate, Kenwood, Alpine, brands that ain't even probably around anymore, were inviting me to go to Mexico and go on these sales trips that I would win. I'd go to Vegas twice a year to SEMA and to see some of the largest car show and consumer electronics show out there. And it was super cool because I was like 22, 23 years old, multiple cars, decked out, rims, tires. So it's funny, if you know me back then and you know me now, you're like, wait a minute, like, is that the same guy? And that's where Paul came from, because when I had the stereo business, the community couldn't say my name. So people would call in and they would just end up saying, "Where's this short little guy?" And so my cousin, I have another cousin named Boulos, was like, "Yeah, man, you need to just go by Paul. It's so much easier. Business card will say it. And then when people call, it's just Paul." So I started going by Paul there. Then in college, my teachers couldn't say my name. So my real name, Boulos, which just sounds super easy. You said it great. And so I ended up having to start doing it at school. So that's what I did my first 5 years, or till I graduated. That's what I did in college. Had that business for 12 years. Through that business, it elevated me to understand how to run and operate daily a business. So I took that, me and my brother-in-law, one of my best friends at the time as well, we would go out. I really didn't go out and party much in college because I lived with my grandmother first 3 years, and I was so obsessed with this business that I had a routine, and this was what started my early morning. So I'd be up at 6 a.m. at my uncle's restaurant, have breakfast, walk over to the stereo shop with my main employee, Jason, and he and I would get started. And the place opened at 9 a.m. I was never past 7:30. Started working, would go to class at 11, go eat my meal prep at my grandmother's, and then I would come back to work from 1 till 7 o'clock at night, train in the gym or take night classes until I finished. And I did that for 4 years. It was my senior year of college that I was like, all right, met some different people from around town, realized there was like a fun little party scene. And so then I started going out, having a good time. And I realized the bar space was something I wanted to be in. At 25 years old, never recommend being in the bar space. And our theory was we'd go out and drink, and we were like, man, this cocktail's $7. They don't have but $1 in it. Man, that hamburger you just ate, man, they can't have more than $1 in this. They'd sell for 10. So we all we saw was that. All we saw was the money. and I don't think I had a understanding of like what went into it just yet. So then I went on to own the restaurant. The gym came after, and then multiple businesses now and investments. So, but yeah, that was the early stages of Paul and how it all got started.
Man, that's crazy.
Living with my grandmother is the moral of the story. I think that was the hardest part that I don't think people understand. Like, you can't bring a woman back to your grandmother's house at 12 o'clock at night, you know?
I mean, you could try, but
You
that's
can figure
another
it out.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me this. I didn't know the car guy Boulos. We met shortly after.
Yeah. That's where I got my name in town. That's when I really started hustling.
Got you. Was there a time you ever felt like you wanted to give up in business? And what kept you going?
Not there. For that business, not at all. It was a space. There, a lot of luck comes into play when you've got a business model that people forget about, and that is where the market is at the time that you start something. And early on, that's just what everybody was doing. And you remember MP3 got big,
Yep.
iPod. So we were swapping out everybody's factory radio for a radio
MP3.
that could put an MP3 into it. So we were getting all age groups, 16-year-old kids who just got their car, who wanted their iPod, to older people who just like still had cassette and they no longer could listen to music.
Dang.
Yeah. And then it, what died, this is part of the luck, is that 2010, 2011, what started coming in cars? Bluetooth. Navigation systems, 20-inch rims, LEDs. So we got out of it in 2013. We would have never survived another 10 years because nobody was doing that stuff anymore.
Yeah, you could have pivoted though. I'm sure. I still see that building still has some car stuff in it.
Yeah, that first
Right.
building that my dad owns, yeah, they're doing, I think, some mechanic stuff. The building that we still own that was Appearance is now Baba Java and the Edge in
Oh,
Homewood. That's my family's property there in Homewood.
that's one of my
So the building's been pivoted.
dude. I take the kids to the Edge all the time.
Do you? Yeah,
'Cause
that's a killer spot. Homewood needed that.
Dude, you get to do what you want to do, and the kids run around.
Yes.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, and you can get a drink from the little Italian place.
Absolutely, the
Yeah.
the wine place.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So let me ask you this: if you could go back and talk to younger Boulos or Paul or whichever one, you had to kind of shift identities, and I can relate to somebody butchering your name. I mean, we live in the South,
Yeah.
and being here, like I've been called everything from Bill to Burpo, like just all
The
variations.
last name I could definitely see.
Oh my God, all of it. So
Yeah.
I was in customer service when I first got started, and when I would say my name over the phone, I would literally say it slowly, and they would still butcher it. So I can relate. But if you could go back and talk to your younger self and tell yourself something, what would you whisper to yourself? Like, what would you do different?
It was something that April actually, who's my connection to you, it was something that she said you said, and I don't even think you realized it. And you had said to her, Paul's a smart dude, but why is he not out here doing this? Like, why is he not delegating? Why is he still there day to day? So my dad and my family was always work first, and the mentality of like hiring out things that somebody's better at, that wasn't my game plan. That wasn't anything that I understood. So if you ever came to my restaurant, you may have seen me bartending because somebody didn't
did.
show up. Yeah. and or you may see me, and sometimes during the same shift, you also may see me walk right back to the back and put an apron on and cook your chicken tenders.
Yeah, and even at Gauntlet, you were all over.
All over, teaching
So-
classes, working the website, taking videos, shooting content when YouTube started getting big, to trying to handle my own website.
Yeah, so you
So
were
that was the
doing.
biggest mistake. If I could talk to my younger self, was think bigger. That's always been. I say that to people now, and they're like, "What are you talking about, man? You got plenty of great stuff going on." Yeah, but I don't. It happened, and it could have actually happened faster if I would immediately came in and said, "Hey, Fit 5, for example, I wouldn't have stopped making meals until my business partner Brock came to me and was like, "What are you doing, man? The time is up for me and you to be plating these things. We're big, we're smarter than this. We need to get out and go get more accounts."
Yeah,
And so he slowly took me one day and said, "Hey, that email you just replied to, that ain't your job. Pass that on. We got a GM for that."
it's hard though. It's hard because it's not a control thing. It's just you're such a people person, and you want everyone to have the best.
Everyone to have a good time, yeah.
Yeah. So that would really and truly, when I told April that was my way of trying to get her to start delegating things, because she's at the time she was doing 4 or 5 different things, and she would come home and, try to do the admin work.
Yeah, yeah.
So with a woman, sometimes you can't be direct with them. So I had to use you as a reference
To
to get
hope
her
that
to
it
start.
clicked for her.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, she came and told me, and I'll never forget it. And I was like, what I thought was cool was I like to pay attention to other people too, especially now with social media. You can kind of get a glimpse, even though social media maybe doesn't have the truth of it all.
Yeah.
You can kind of see where somebody's going, and so I took it as a compliment that you were paying attention to what I was doing, and you saw more in me and was like, man, this guy should do this. So I definitely took it as like, all right, people are paying attention to what I'm doing. Let me now go elevate like all these people are saying.
And you've definitely done that because, man, you have an empire, and some of the things that you do, like the real estate stuff that we talk about,
Yeah.
off record, which is amazing. Some of the stories that you've shared with me, like, I don't think people like no most people will never have the opportunity to buy investments with their dad or with their family.
Yeah.
And when you told me that the last time you and I met, I was inspired, and I went back and I started telling everyone, like,
Really?
that's how it's done.
That's so cool.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's that's the American dream that we all fight for.
It is, yeah. I watched my dad live it and do it.
So you have multiple businesses, right? Which comes with multiple roles, but more importantly, multiple people that you got to manage and lead. And, with leadership comes pressure, right? Tell us, what is the hardest decision that you've had to make in your business as it relates to, dealing with your employees or just in the business as a whole?
It'd be two: firing a friend or family. That's tough. You always think you can get through it, and that don't worry, that time won't come. This is going to be a good employee. And then the second one be COVID. COVID shut us down, remember? So
Tell me about that. Unpack
talking
that.
about having to pivot. In March 15th of 2020, they announced, everything was shut down. Gauntlet was thriving. I was looking at my second space, and we were going to expand the first one. So we were looking to go out to Vestavia Hoover on Highway 31. And my real estate agent was sending me links to places. We were checking them out. We were ready to make the move. And COVID hit. And so by May 15th, so less than 60 days, we were pretty much cut in half. And if it wasn't for the PPP, we wouldn't have never survived. So we were thriving off of college kids at UAB and Sanford. So their parents called them, says, cancel your membership. You're coming back home. So Troy, Greenville, Montgomery, like all these kids that went up here for school, their parents told them to come back home. Of course they did. We really didn't know as a country at the time what was going to happen. The ebbs and flows of COVID, right? So the news one day was go outside, the next day was don't go outside. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. All that hindered your business. Like nobody could figure out what to do. It then catapulted now to where wellness is as big as it's ever been, and everybody cares about their health more than ever. But we can shift to that in a few. So that part was the hardest. Was what do you do? Like the only thing that kept me comfortable was misery loves company, right? So let's be honest. It feels better when you know everybody else is under the same pressure. And I knew that every business owner in town was feeling what I was feeling, because there was things that thrived in it, shipped, Uber, DoorDash, right? Like those things all elevated and thrived because of COVID. For us, it was the opposite. It cut you in half, and you had to start back over. So pivoting was huge. The Zoom stuff, yeah, that didn't really work, At Fit 5, what we pivoted was we got a phone call one day from somebody that wanted to donate food to all the nurses that were working them long shifts in the COVID spaces. And she called and said, I want to order 500 meals for UAB and this department. The reason they were calling us was because they needed the meals to be packaged individually. They needed to be served cold. You needed to have a delivery team in space. You needed to have an online ordering platform, and the meals needed to be labeled. That was the Fit 5. We nailed all 5 of those. So that lady told her friend, told that company, told that. And State Farm agent called me up one day. I need 1,250 meals. I want to pay for it. I want to take them to Grandview. And so that got us back going. That got us to where we can go to our team and say, nobody's getting fired. We're all going to continue working. And then because remember, Fit 5 delivers to gyms what were shut down.
Yeah,
Gyms.
because I used to pick mine up from 24E.
24E. So you couldn't get them anymore.
Yep.
So pivoting that business at that time was really hard. That was definitely the most pressure I've ever been under as a small business owner.
And so how did Gauntlet pivot during that time?
Gauntlet, honestly, we rebranded and bought the space next door. We doubled down, as crazy as that sounds. And I only did that because I had a couple employees like April who came to me and said, no, let's do this. Let's do this the way we've always believed in doing this. Let's double down on it. And I've got your back. I'll work through it, whatever you need. I got to give a shout out to another person. There's 2 other people in the room with that conversation. Nathan Taylor that worked for me, Nate, and then Brittany Watkins. So both of them were in the room like on like a final day of like where we were all like, man, I think we just shut this thing down. Like it's cost more money than it's making. And so we took the space next door, doubled down and rebranded. That just kind of gained us traction again. People like you just started paying attention one more time. Oh, Gauntlet's doing something new. The thing that helped was the wellness category just took off.
Yeah, because I mean, you had to take, everybody was getting sick, so they were trying to prevent from going to the doctor.
Yeah.
So
the best thing that happened.
Yeah.
From all that was that people started taking care of themselves.
So, what separates? Because of course we talk about Paul, the person that started in the car business, but now you're in some ways a serial entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely. What's
the mindset shift that separates the old Paul from the new and improved Paul?
That's a good one, man. So I think with that, a lot of what I took on in my own personal wellness, so cold plunging, sauna, I shifted from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. during COVID, which means my alarm goes off at 3:30. So if you really want something, you've got to there's somebody out there working just as fast as you, so you got to beat them to it. It's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's motto. First one to rise every morning, work harder than the guy next to you. So that was my mindset shift. Was I was always into fitness, but I don't think I ever realized that fitness gave you an edge on everybody because your mentality was different.
I get slammed a lot for this.
Yeah.
But people come to me all the time and, they're like, I'm depressed, I'm this and the third. I'm like, hey, go to the gym for like 60 days and then come back and see me. Just stay consistent. I'm not saying go every day, but just go 5 days a week for 30 days. You don't have to work out as hard as me or the person that's been doing it for 10 years, but just do something, get your body moving.
Yeah.
And then come back and ask me if you're depressed.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the times when people take that advice, they're like, man, I feel better.
When gyms say they change your lives, I don't think people realize what a bold statement that is. The confidence that comes from it can change everything.
Yeah.
You go to work taller.
You do.
So I think I 100% agree with you. And that's awesome that you give that feedback because that's the kind of feedback everybody needs to get.
Yeah.
There's times where medication's needed, but then there's times where it's just, hey, God even said everything's in steps, make that movement.
Yeah. I mean, you 19 years old, you're talking about you depressed. But that's a conversation for another day. But I will tell you, talking about the gym, what it did for me is I get to see other people that are way ahead of me, and I get to work out right next to them, and that makes it possible for me. You don't believe you can lift as much or run as far until you're in the vicinity of someone who's actually done it.
Yep.
So for that person that's out here thinking that you're wasting your money on a premium gym membership, you're not paying for the membership. You're paying for a transformation in who you are more than anything. And I used to have that mindset where I thought, having a Planet Fitness membership was the way to go until they started putting me out for slamming weights.
Yeah.
And, then you go to the Gauntlets of the world and,
Boutique studios.
Yeah, and then April kicks harder than me. And I'm like, there's no way a girl is going to outdo me.
Right.
But that mentality, just so the space that you created alone, you probably can't even count how many lives you've changed.
I talk to people to this day that are still my friends through that business like you, right? Who I haven't seen in 10 years and they tell me that like they still remember the technique that we taught.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I've
fun.
Also seen people go from Gauntlet being the first gym they've ever walked into and now they're like connoisseurs of the wellness space. They're cold plunging, they're sauna. I heard from 2 friends last night that were like asking me a sauna question. 2 years ago, that it was the first time they'd ever seen a gym.
I tell you, I'll do you one better. The first time I ever stepped foot on, what's the machine that you guys have there that measures your BMI and your body fat and
Oh, the InBody.
the InBody? That was the first time I've ever done one. And your guy, Brock, you guys had an event,
At
and
Gauntlet.
you were giving that away as a part of being at the event.
Yeah.
And Brock, I thought he was like, bro, you're in great shape.
When you saw that in proof.
When I saw the numbers on paper,
Yeah.
he was like, I'm highly, impressed. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah, you're in better shape than most people.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
That's what's cool about all the tech that's coming, the recovery stuff and the watches, the rings.
Yeah.
All the wearables is showing you exactly, hey, you are improving.
Absolutely.
I think that's what's cool.
So, man, you've done a lot. And a lot of the times, fear and doubt and those things try to creep in. But you still go through, you've got, like I said, several successful brands. You're about to open up another brand that we didn't even talk about, the daycare space.
Yeah.
How do you overcome, your own mental roadblocks that continue to allow you to keep pushing through so that you can continue to go out and perform and, accomplish these great things that you're doing?
I think social media helps because I'm seeing, like you were saying earlier, I'm seeing so many people now that are doing more with less, and I really understand it better. And I like the challenge of it. So probably what ends up happening at a certain level of work is that it can get monotonous.
Yeah.
So it's fun to take on something new and go, okay, hey, I've done that now. Now I want to do X. So my mentality now with the investments that I'm making on these brands locally is, are they making a difference in the community? Is it something that I'm passionate about myself? And is there a growth opportunity in it? And is it something you just feel? It's a person thing, the product doesn't matter as much as the person involved. You've seen this so many times where brands had a product for years, and then until the right marketing person came and took it, it was
Celsius
on the bottom of the shelf. Celsius.
It's one of them.
It's one of the best ones to talk about. Yeah. Celsius cuts clothing. Steve Borelli, I think's his name. I was listening to him on a podcast this morning where you see like the struggles that these other people go to make it happen. So for me, that mindset it all starts in the gym. It all starts with my wellness routine. I've got a family now, so I want them to see their dad doing all of this stuff. And my dad used to always have a quote, because my dad was always, a lot of people always said to him, like, you don't have enough fun. You don't do enough with your money. And he, like, soon as he finally got it to where he made it and he no longer had to stress as much, everybody kept coming to him saying, you ought to redo your house. Your house is too small. Ray, you never buy a new car. You always drive an old car. My dad didn't buy his first ever brand new car until he turned 60 years old.
Wow.
2020 Ford F-150.
And it wasn't even a Ferrari. It's not even
a Lexus. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was so proud of it. He drove it to my house. My neighbors came out and he was like, yeah, I just bought, and it's crimson, so it's Alabama colors. So he was so proud of it. At 60 years old, this man was he could have had a brand new car a long time before that. Consistently. But he just was like, what if I do live tomorrow? Chances are you may die tomorrow, 100%. Live in the moment, understand the moment, feel that moment, be present. But chances are you're going to wake up tomorrow. So you do got to think ahead. And that's how he always was my mom used to tell me that, like, he was paid in full for the year on his mortgage. Like, man, nobody thinks that way.
Yeah.
He never believed in credit cards. He didn't get a credit card, and it was my fault. I got him to get a Southwest credit card, and then I took the round trip that they paid for. If you started a credit card and put $3,000 on it, pay it off. And we were trying to teach him like points and credits and stuff like that. He never had a credit card for 51 years as a business owner. He never had a credit card.
Wow.
And then we got him Southwest card, and I took the round trip tickets, and me and
Yeah.
my cousin went to Vegas.
So what would you say to that person that's watching this and they're afraid to double down or go deep on that thing they know they should be doing?
Action.
Fear's in the way, though. What would you say?
Action starts diminishing the fear. One step forward, because then you start answering those questions that are hindering you back, you know? So I'll give you a great example. Here recently, I'm putting on Alabama's first ever fitness festival. Okay, this is happening all over the world. It's time to happen here. Same thing with the EGE, the men's retreat you and I are doing. I heard the girl who approached me about the event had a big mentality with it, which I aspire. I want to put on this event. I'm thinking 5,000 people. I'm thinking BJCC. And I was all about it until she started naming these big places and these big costs with it. And I remember telling my wife, my telltale is usually my anxiety. And so I was like, Angela, my wife, I was like, baby, I'm starting to feel like this just doesn't feel right about it. And I don't know if we can do it. And she was like, well, what's right? I was like, well, it's this big venue and they want $20,000 a day for the venue and it's going to take 20 security guards and stuff like that. And then I was just reminded of Nick Bearbar, I'm butchering his last name, BPN supplements. Think narrow and deep versus far and wide. And so, he talks about when he created his supplement company, everybody told him, he believed in one product, but everybody told him to create creatine and vitamins and protein shakes and all that. And he would kind of sit back and he waited 3 years and said, no, I'm just going to create this one product, build a brand, build a story, and then I'll eventually have the other supplements. So then he had a supplement line, right? So I went back to the girl, Ann Lynn Versiglio. She's my partner on this. And I said to her, I was like, man, I'm really uncomfortable with this idea. I don't know if I can be your partner on this. I don't know if I can help. And I said, I think we just need to tone it down. It's the first one. It can have 10,000 people in year 2, 3, and 4, but just like anything else, like let's start from the bottom, let's crawl before we walk. And so we decided to tone it back down. The anxiety and the fear went away. Because the anxiety and fear came from my belief. My gut was telling me, yeah, you can't put 10,000 people in a room your first year, but I bet you can put 500 to 1,000. And for those out there that, maybe make the comments or think to the point of like getting in your brain and start hitting your mindset, you're not doing it. What are you out there accomplishing?
Right.
So you got a problem with something that I'm putting on?
Right.
You got a problem with the way I run my gym? Where's your gym at?
Right. Do you even go to the gym?
Do you even go to the gym?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me how to run my businesses when I haven't seen you open one up? So I don't let the Twitter fingers. That stuff never really bothered me because I had that mentality early on of like, you're not doing what I'm doing. And I'm the ones that are doing what I'm doing, I'm want to sit next to and learn from.
Absolutely.
But the ones that are just standing behind a computer telling me that I'm not doing it right. So that limited my fear on it was when we toned it back down. And through the right conversations and the right people, now it is becoming something big, but we took it down a notch first, and now we're doing it right.
Yeah. So you brought up a good point, and then I'll pivot into some more questions. But at the time of this recording, right, there's a guy named Alex Hormozi.
Oh, yeah.
He just did a massive event. Broke the Guinness Book of World Record.
On the book, right?
Yeah, #1 book, nonfiction book. I mean, probably made over 100 million. That's just in book sales. And people are hating.
Yes. I follow him, and I saw somebody yesterday with the first hate, and it says, I want you to go back to the guy that's giving the free stuff.
There's a time for that. I mean, you can go to his website and get a bunch of free stuff. But those that pay attention. You know how much people have given me $20,000 programs for free. I never took advantage of it because I have no skin in the game. So that guy's opinion doesn't matter. But I got inspired when I saw that. Like, dude, he did a launch and he spent like 9 hours going over like the book. Not to mention, you bought the books. You had to buy 200 of them. It was about, I think, $6,000. I bought them to give away. But you got probably $100,000 worth of free stuff.
You had to buy that many books.
And I can do what I want to do with them. I can resell them. I can give them away, donate them. And I can have all of them shipped to me, which I'm not going to do that, and have them sitting somewhere. or I can give people codes and they can go redeem them off his site, and then he still gets the data. And or you just have to pay, I think, $7 in shipping to get the book sent to you. But
Genius.
dude, I got inspired. Like that's how you do it. That's how you set yourself apart from the pack. Like he spent $4 million promoting the event. $4 million. Why were you mad at somebody going in their own pocket and betting on themselves? Never. So that to your point, that's the mindset. And even my mentees that are in the room, that's what I try to instill in them. Like you just gotta do it. Success is a reps issue. It's not how you feel. You put the reps in, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
No different than going to the gym. You're not gonna start off benching 225.
Right.
It'll take you years to get to that if you've never been in the gym.
Right.
So, but speaking of the health and wellness space, you dominate that space in so many ways. Where do you see that space going in the next maybe 5 to 10 years? And you see it clear as day, but most people are underestimating the shift that's happening.
I've been in it for a while now, both personally and business wise. So to me, it's nothing new. It's just all coming to light. So that's a tough question. I think recovery is big.
Oh yeah.
Sweat House just came to town. They're a national franchise. There's Recovery House downtown that I use. A guy named Lewin that's always another step ahead of everybody else, has a communal space where you go in and cold plunge and do sauna. And he's throwing this event called Recovery Day on Sundays. He's got a new one coming that's going to be at night that you're going to hear about soon. And at these events, it's just like-minded fitness individuals that are amongst each other doing yoga, cold plunge, sauna. So like 10 a.m. is the new 10 p.m. mentality. This next generation, yesterday Vegas released like their numbers and they're down year over year, month over month consistently. And it has a lot to do with like the next generation up is not out there drinking and partying like we were. They care more about their bodies. They're smarter. They care about experiences, which I think we all saw with the rise of Airbnb and landing. They care about like space. So I think that's one big thing is you're going to see, and I hope I'm the first. I think I'm already the first, but the EGE, 16 men all together
Can't wait.
in one block, in one property, spending the night, waking up, working out, running together, hiking together, meditating together, breath work, cold plunging, sauna. There's no, you weren't invited because we're all going to binge drink and get away from our wives.
No.
That wasn't the goal with this event. It's people that going to get something from hanging out with like-minded fitness individuals, wellness individuals, leaders, business people. And I think you're going to see more. I think the fitness festival space is going to be huge. Faces of Fitness Chicago is blowing up. I saw like the Running Man High Rocks fitness racing just getting started.
That's crazy. Why do you think the recovery space is booming so much? Because I mean, I to your point, I didn't think about it until you just said it. When I was just in Atlanta Monday, right?
Okay.
90% of my ads that were shown to me were from recovery houses. Like most of them, it wasn't restaurants, it wasn't bars, it wasn't parties. It was
big cities already on it.
I mean, all of them. Like they were targeting me because they knew I was in Atlanta. As soon as I crossed the state line, and I stopped, to get something to drink, and I checked my phone, I'm getting ads from recovery houses. So why do you think? What do you think brought that on?
Social media, obviously, right? The trend. I think the wearables are teaching you what works, what doesn't. So my wife got me an Oura ring, my last birthday. Not a better gift on this planet you can get somebody who's in the wellness place. So like a Whoop, like an Apple Watch, but really understand sleep. And it breaks sleep down into 8 parts. So you can see your REM, your latency, your deep sleep. You can see how quick it is that you fall asleep, how long you slept. And it can compare days. You can put tags in there like I cold plunge today, I sauna today. It knows your workouts based upon your heart rate. You could tie it to your Apple Watch, of course. And I always thought I was sleeping well. and I was holding on to belly fat. And one of the big things with recovery is belly fat, cortisol levels. And so I asked my wife about this. I told my wife that's what I wanted. And like months before, she remembered, got it for me. And I started tracking my sleep. Then I found out that I was sleeping 7-8 hours, but I was tossing and turning and I wasn't getting deep in REM, which is true. You ever still wake up tired even if you get 8-9 hours of sleep? You know, there's so many things that go into that. What did you eat the day prior? How did you feel? Were you hydrated? How did you go to sleep? Did you drink a glass of wine to fall asleep? Did you take an Ambien? Like those things can get you to sleep, but how good was the sleep?
Right.
So when I started studying my sleep patterns, I started noticing like, okay, so I started wearing blue light glasses because I started reading that blue light glasses could help you in your REM. As soon as I changed wearing Dream Recovery blue light glasses,
I'm gonna write that down.
Dream Recovery.
Braxton,
yeah.
take a note of that,
I'll get
please.
you connected with Meredith, man. This girl will get you set up
Dream
with
Recovery blue light glasses.
blue light glasses.
I need
mouth
that.
tape. So I'm crazy. I cover my mouth at night. I wear nose strips.
No strips. You see, I'm writing this
There
down.
you go. Blue light glasses.
Is this gonna be in the ECG?
Y'all already got it. It already came in the mail.
So
You don't have to pay for it.
So I just gotta wait till October.
You got to wait till October.
right,
Yeah,
perfect.
yours is already in the bag. Yeah, they sent everybody blue light glasses, nose strips, and mouth tape.
So take notes. So I got my Braxton and Ty who are covering the event. They're both young. As you can see, they're in great shape.
Yeah.
Braxton doesn't eat meat. Like he takes his health extremely serious, and that made me think of him when you said the generation, after us.
Yeah, they're different.
They're very different.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I was one of them, a lot of people thought differently of them early on. And I think now you're since like, no, they're not that crazy.
Yeah, they're not crazy at all.
No.
No, I mean, you see he's doing my whole production, so
Yeah.
he's obviously doing something right.
How old are you guys?
I'm 32. Yeah, 32.
Both of them are 32. So let's pivot a little bit. What is an unpopular opinion about your space that you're willing to die on a hill on, that you know is true, but people push back on?
How much it helps with mental health.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Too many people think it's medication.
Okay. We don't want to go too deep into that because
Yeah.
he'll get hate comments, but
Yeah.
I get it.
There's mental. My wife helps children with OCD and anxiety. There's mental health problems. I've had them unfold in my own personal life, but a lot of it has to do with what you're doing and your actions. If you're not doing anything to help it, check that first.
And
Are you out there getting sunlight? Are you running? You walking? You hydrated? Headaches come from dehydration a lot of times.
absolutely.
I
learned that, and I learned that you can't just drink water.
Yeah.
I used to drink a ton of water, man, like a gallon, and would still feel dry.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's not the water, it's the stuff that your body has to hold on to. My body was just going through the water.
Going through it. Yeah.
So I started implementing, more fruit, more things that had electrolytes in it and potassium and magnesium and things like that.
Good for you. That's awesome.
So see, I learned a lot from you guys.
I appreciate it.
So,
yeah.
man, but that is, I have that same, I feel the same way. I've never taken a medication. All my problems got, whatever I saw started in the gym. When I started taking, just working out, period. When I started challenging myself that way, it changed everything for me.
It changed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people can say that it was reading, it was school. No, it was the gym for me.
For you, it was the gym.
Yeah. When I started taking my health serious, I became a different person mentally, like overall. I mean, I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to beat myself up in the gym so hard that the world can't do it to me. That's my motto.
That's your motto. Yeah. Yeah. One of the guys that inspires me, I follow a guy named Brian Mazza, founder of HPLT, High Performance Lifestyle Training.
Gotcha.
Started hosting these retreats with men, having like these networking events around the wellness space. And one of the things he always said that I never spoke it verbally, but it like really clicked for me. And it was something I was already doing, which was, as a father, it all changed on how my approach on was life, right? I can work 16, 20-hour days. Been there, done that. Nothing to brag about.
No.
So many people do it, right? That will kill you faster than
Yep.
breathing.
Stress.
Stress will kill you, And so he always talks about like one of his best jobs daily is like being a father and being around his kids. and being active around his kids. I don't know what it's like for you and your family and your nationality and where you come from, but in the area of Middle Eastern culture, like, it was not common for them to be healthy. I had multiple uncles that all died under the age of 50. I just turned 40 this year. I'm in some of the best shape of my life. I can go to the trampoline park with my kids and do the same flips they're doing. And then I go to a birthday party where there's other 40-year-old men at these places, and they can't even, they drop their kid off and then they go sit down. And I take my shoes off and the lady's like, man, sir, you need a tag, like, you can't go in there. But luckily I'm a little bit shorter, so that helps. But yeah, so I think, this generation like really understands that. And I hope that's what I'm doing socially, that people are seeing is like, I'm out there with my kids, like playing, like all in playing, not just talking about it.
So speaking of the next generation, right? You saw a shift in things just like, we both have in a sense. But when you first started, the way to build wealth was work hard. But this new generation, especially in the fitness space, they're doing things a lot different.
Scaling.
How is the way those guys are building wealth now different than when you first started?
You didn't have the investment opportunities like are available to you now. My cousin sent me yesterday that one of the best products that we take, Creatures of Habit, which is like an overnight oats, you can invest with that company now. They sent out an email yesterday saying that you can buy in at a certain share. That's opportunities like that didn't grow up. You're just like me, man. We didn't see all that when we were growing up.
No.
Through email?
Not at all.
It was all, growing up, it was just who you were around. That's how you got the opportunities. So I think that's one thing that this generation's got. The technology that they have. When I was doing like my notes on my first business, it was pen and paper. Now it's, hey, ChatGPT, help me with this.
Right. You had to
go follow somebody and then
we had to go to the
scale
library.
what they're doing.
Library, encyclopedia.
Yeah. My business partner and I at Fit5, we just saw the other day that there's another meal prep company that's just started in Alabama, and God bless them. We want, I know what it's like to be starting, and I never want to speak ill of any other small business because I know what it's like to have people talk about you, but you could just tell they're just replicating us. Because that's what you can do now because of social media. They can see everything.
Yeah.
Our ingredients are on our website.
Right.
But you couldn't find the special sauce that businesses had when we were growing up.
Yeah. They're meal prep hacking.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, like I said, much success to them, but you carved out your own space. And
yeah, we had to figure it out on our own.
So what has success cost you, that people really don't see?
In my 20s was friendships. I graduated with a large friend group that really hurt when they all moved away to different colleges, and my parents telling me to stay back and having to live with my grandmother. So I couldn't go party. I couldn't go down to Tuscaloosa and Auburn on the weekends. Man, that was a rough time for me. That was probably the only time in my life that I experienced what was depression. And that's when I saw like mental health was a real thing, was just like being stuck at home on your own and not having friends and not being out with people. But what was cool about it was that what I didn't see was like that was what was taking me to the next level, right? Because I was learning how to build my business while everybody else wasn't. So ask the question again.
Yeah, what else has success cost you that people don't really see?
So yeah,
friends.
Okay. Yeah, so friends. So it was that early on in my college years was that I couldn't go out and party because I also worked every Saturday. So I could only go down there Saturday night. By Saturday night, man, they had been out to Tipsy Tuesday, Wine Wednesday. They didn't even want me coming down there.
Right.
So missing out on friends. And then I think at the time, entrepreneurship recently became cool. UAB did a billboard within like the past 5 to 7 years, like talking about entrepreneurship right off the side of the highway. When I was growing up, when you told somebody you were an entrepreneur or a business owner, they were like, hack. You're just a slacker.
Yeah.
So you're basically just saying you didn't go to college.
Right.
Small example, but my parents were so worried, always thought I didn't meet my wife until I was 34. And so when I was young, my parents always thought that the reason why I never got married was because women were like, look at him. He's a small business owner. He works every day. He owns a restaurant. He's dirty. He smells. He smells like fryer oil in the kitchen. He was probably at the bar till 2 a.m. last night. The truth of it wasn't any of that. I was working hard. I was building it all up at that time. But I think, so yeah, my parents all the time used to be like, sell the restaurant. I promise that'll help you find a wife.
Sound like my mom.
Yeah. So you lose a lot of friendship. Nobody gets it other than other business owners. So it's hard to converse and have good conversations with people that don't get it. Even to this day, like with my closest friends groups, I recently created a small little friends group that is all built on like, are we working out tomorrow? Are we meeting on Saturday, Sunday? It's all built around wellness. And that's really cool. And I'm trying to get in more with business owners because you can just have coffee and literally just vent and find out things in a quick amount of time that you're going through that you don't realize.
That's the cheat code. That's the cheat code, man. And, that's why I was intentional about connecting with you, reconnecting with you. And then when we had that chat, man, it was like refreshing that morning, and we both had like packed schedules, but I was not going to miss that one for the world.
I appreciate
we just we didn't even talk business. We just
caught up. Yeah.
But it was a catch up in a way where it's like, he gets it. You got a chance to see what I'm doing. I got a chance to hear about some of the new things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And we both were like showing each other things and giving each other perspectives that we otherwise wouldn't even thought of, And we got mutual friends, but somehow you and I still come back around and always find a way to reconnect.
And find a reason that, like you said, be inspired. I think the best part is that we both leave each other. I'm going to leave here today and be like, all right, I'm going to get that little notebook that you have, So like we leave conversations more inspired. I'm excited to talk to these two guys that you got here because I love to hear what these young guys are doing and how they can help me or how I can help them. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. So like I told you, if we're going to put your socials on the screen and we're going to link down a bunch of stuff for you, the Gauntlet stuff, Fit Fives and, anything else you want to link. But one of the things that I'm really impressed about is how well you balance business and your family. Like if you go to your Instagram, you're cooking for the family, you're having fun with the kids, your birthday party. It was like,
I had to get a babysitter to be here right now.
See,
because I'm usually after 1 o'clock, I'm a family man.
Yeah.
I'm not on my business anymore.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, how did you get to the point where you can balance those two well together? And what do you feel like is the secret to having all of it?
A lot of people who recently just got to know me think I probably had it like this for a while, but there was 20 years of struggle before it, 20 years of running the business and being there every day. So delegation, the right team, I got a kick-ass crew at all companies. And then all the things that I'm invested in, same thing. It's the people that I trust with the service and the product that I'm not going to be a part of. If I can be, I like to check in with them and just see if there's anything I can do to help. If I can connect them with somebody that'll save them time or money or the right person. But for the most part, now everything I do, there's no more. I'm not starting a business that I've got to be the manager again. Been there, and God bless the next guy that does it. But I'm 40 now. Now it's about my kids. So spending time with them is non-negotiable. I didn't see my kids Monday night, and my wife texted me and said, I didn't see them all day Monday. My wife texted me and was like, just remember, you're not a bad father. That's how rare not seeing my kids in an entire day is.
Yeah, shout out to your wife for that.
Yeah. Guys, if you're looking to get married, have these conversations early and find you a woman that like believes in that and understands it, but have those conversations early. So like my third date, we talked about small business and what small business ownership meant. So I was like, there's going to be times where I'm going to work till 7. And there's going to be times at 10 o'clock a.m. I'm going to call you and say, I'm done. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And that's rare. So you got to find a woman that believes in you. And I did.
Man, that's amazing. And I get a chance to spend time with you guys. So you guys, what was that we went to in Florida? Was that your wedding? Whose wedding was that we went to in Florida?
In Florida?
On the beach.
Oh, you talking about down in like Gulf Shores? That was my best friend Katie and her husband Carson. How did I meet them? Was Gauntlet. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And I got a chance to see you and your wife like interact, and y'all are like best friends. Like it's not even like y'all like homies.
She texted me before I came up here and said, remember your worth. Brag about yourself for a minute. Like, get up there and tell them who you are. Like, don't be afraid to tell your story.
Hey.
And so I share some of it on social media, but man, if I shared like the day in the life of, like, people would step back and go, oh, shit, that's harder than I thought.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, she's there for me and she gets it. The fitness festival is a financial investment for us. And the conversation I had, I said, hey, I'm on my way to do this podcast with Gilberto. And listen, the meeting went great. It's going to cost us some money. I'm going to come home, talk to you about it. You see how you feel. And then I'll give you my pitch. Just, do you believe in me? Do you believe in this idea? And she's like, yes. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to show you the way.
Way to go.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's what all of us aspire to have.
I think I just hacked your name, by the way. Only because he had me thinking about it. I was like, wait.
No, you're good. So, all right, family, business.
Yeah.
What else? Where else do you find fulfillment?
The newest things that I've been doing, super stoked about the fitness festival, but I'm more ecstatic about EGE. So EGE, Expand, Grow, Evolve, is a group of guys. So about 3 years ago, I met Marlon Humphrey and Dreek Humphrey, part of the Humphrey family here, full-blown athletes in Alabama. And they came by Fit 5 and talked to me about this property that they bought out in Calera. And they told me this idea of a men's retreat out there or just having these wellness events out there. And then that led me to start looking into the wellness festivals. And I started following Brian Mazza and Devin Levesque. I think that's how you say his name. If you don't follow them, go follow those two guys on Instagram if you're in the wellness space. Leaders in that category. And Brian Mazza just sold his brand a Lifetime.
Wow.
The high performance brand. And he sold it to them off the idea that High Rocks is the future. So Lifetime's getting into the fitness racing space. Devin Levesque built a place called the Sweet Honey Farm, and he just has wellness events out there. And then he got into a product called Pro Mix. How he got big was he bear crawled the New York City Marathon on YouTube. That made him famous. And then from there, he started doing crazy types of training. He trained with like Odell Beckham. And so everybody just started following him for his content. And then he eventually built up enough wealth and resources to start getting into the space. And so EGE was pitched to me 3 years ago by these two brothers. Excellent family. If you haven't met them yet, man, the Humphrey family, they're just all awesome people. From the mom, the dad, to the sisters. Super great group of people. And they came and told me about this idea. And so about 3-4 months ago, it's been in a text thread for months. Like, let's make this happen. And so I finally was like, all right, this is it. I reached out to my cousin Chris. He started doing the graphic design. Me, Dreek, our buddy Dusty Nickram, who owns Voyage, Family Cairo in Vestavia, and our buddy Mason. We all went to Thrive Co-working Space, and we sat there and we just hashed it out. All right, what does this event look like? How many people? How are we going to make it intimate? How are we going to make sure that we get the right group of people? Do we charge? How much do we charge? And I took what you said to me about there is a price to it, because it was going to cost me to rent the space. It's going to cost us to have people out there. It was going to cost us to feed everybody. So there was money that had to go out. So giving it away for free didn't even make sense, because like, why would we lose for 16 men to come learn something from each other?
Yeah.
So then I really understood what you said of like, if you bring value, the money follows. And I've had a lot of people hit me up for this event, and then their first question is like the money. If you can't see value in this, then you're right. It's not right for you just yet. It can be, but you've got to really ask the right questions first. And I learned, we're mimicking this off of some stuff that's happening out in these other states. Birmingham has been against each other for too long. It's just now getting to where gym owners speak to each other. How sad is that?
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you couldn't, in the meal prep game, man, like, there's only 2 or 3 meal prep companies that I can DM and ask a question. Where do you get your plastic containers from?
And they'll tell you. Anybody else is like...
There's another 20, 30 of them that are like, what are you trying to do? Copy our secret. I still got to put in the work. Just by buying the same container, that's not going to take me up a level.
Right.
So it's just amazing that like we're starting to get to where we can be a collective amongst each other.
I had a friend of mine who did that in the chicken space. Instead, he came in, he wanted to make a chicken joint. And he went to all the other owners, and he was like, "Look, if we buy the chicken together, we'll get a heck of a discount. Why don't we start working together? Like, we're not stepping in each other's toes. You know, we even though we all sell the same product, we got a different bow on it. So and we're on different sides of town.
Okay.
And then they fought him for a while, but eventually, as when COVID came and you know things changed and inflation went through the roof, now they all work together. So,
wow.
So that makes sense. So, man, I didn't even know that. That's disheartening to hear because I mean, health is true wealth. I don't care what nobody tells you.
It wasn't until recently that the fitness space got to where, at least here locally, you and I talk about this all the time. Like Birmingham says they want more, but then they do things to cut it back. The community in general and the suburbs. You know, I'm trying to take Vestavia and connect them with Birmingham.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want Mountain Brook to sit on its own.
Yeah, because it's like a little. If you're not in the silos, you don't even know things exist.
I don't want my kid to grow up thinking that blonde hair, blue eyes is the only thing that lives in this town.
Right. So we're gonna do some rapid fire because I know you got to get back to the kids.
Nah, you're good, man. I'm here for you.
What's the best investment you've ever made?
Real estate.
Tell me a little bit about that because I know some of the things you've done, but the audience.
So the real estate was my mailbox money, that pitch that everybody gives on how do you make money without working it. And it does still take work and it still takes educating. You've got to know what you're doing to get into it. There's a lot of people that buy 1 or 2 houses and then years later you find out they're selling them because they didn't realize what went into it. You got to educate yourself on the space and understand it. But some of the opportunities that are out there have a lot to little risk and have long-term upside. Yeah. I saw it with my dad. He was buying homes early, like in 1980s. Prices obviously then were a lot different.
Absolutely.
And then he just kept stacking them. And once again, he didn't go out and spend the money. He just invested it. So he just kept buying more homes. And then one day that number climbed.
Wow.
And you're like, Dad, how many you got now? And he's double digits. And I was like, okay, when did you do? Oh, I didn't tell you, but I bought these last 2 just last week. And each one brought the next, right? So on one street, for example, when he bought the first one, well, when the neighbor went to sell, they asked him because they just knew he was a guy that bought houses. Then came down the line to eventually he owned the street. But it started with one home, and then somebody wanted to sell, and then the next person wanted to sell, and then it became that like you wanted a house off this block, sold, you called Ray Shunnarah. So the portfolio of homes that I have with my brother-in-law and my dad all came from learning from every step of the way and the people I connected with. So the bank that I had allowed me to get in on the real estate opportunity. So when it's position yourself around the right people, absolutely, 100%. When you hear the quotes of it's all about who you know, that's what allowed me to get into the real estate space. So I don't like the remodeling, the construction side of the real estate, but I like the make a part of town that wasn't doing well look better.
Absolutely.
You know, and keeping it affordable, I think is cool.
Yeah, because you just did a big project in a part of town that we're not going to name on the interview, but I'm gonna connect you with once election is over with, I'll connect you with the right person.
Yeah, do that for me. Yeah, that was really cool because I grew up less than a mile away from those homes. So that was really cool because that's like going back to my roots of where I came from. And the same thing, but all my properties are, one of my properties is the home I lived in with my grandmother.
Man, that's amazing. You got to tell it. We got to document that.
Yeah,
you got to tell that story.
Man, I wish content creating was like back then, right?
Yeah.
But and then some of the other homes I own in that area are like the first houses that like our family came into when they first got here.
That's crazy.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, my dad and uncles always tell me, they're like, if you ever sell it, we'll kill you.
Yeah, you got to document that, man. Because I mean, for you to be able to go back and buy that and keep it in the family, that's a story within itself.
Yeah, I've got to overcome something. And you know what that is, man? Is I got to overcome, you know, you asked this earlier, and I don't even think I caught it until now, which is like the fear of what people are going to say about you or think. And so I think I'm like afraid to share too much because you got people out there that are like, okay, now he's just bragging. When I think a part of it is like, No, I'm inspired by guys that are way more well off than I am. And I think there's something to that, you know. And I knew their story at the beginning. So maybe it's, hey, this is where I started, this is where I am on the content side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the right people will get inspired.
Right, people,
You know.
and that's what I think. That's what I got to get over. But yeah, I need to go down to my rental properties one day and say, "This is the house I grew up in. These are the houses I
Yeah,
own."
and we got the guys right here to help
Yeah,
you with that.
yeah,
So,
we're all gonna connect after
Yep.
this. That's for sure.
so what book changed your life?
What book?
Book.
Atomic Habits.
I love that book. Tell me one thing in that book that.
It goes back to what habits you set in place to make an action, right? So how do you wake up early? It doesn't just start with an alarm clock that opens up, right? So what's your nighttime routine look like? Are you truly quieting down? Are you truly winding down? Are you getting yourself ready to rest? So no screen times, exerting all that energy. So I'm tired, of course, because of the workout and the fitness and the playing with my kids. So I'm already burnt out. So that part of it is kind of right there. Establishing a nighttime routine, packing your clothes. So one of my best friends, Jason Krill, was part of the ship team, now part of the landing team. He used to tell me that him and some of the VPs at Shipped would like always have their clothes ready the night before. And you remember Steve Jobs' story was that he wore the same thing so he
Yeah.
wouldn't have to think about it.
Decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue, yeah. And it's crazy. You're going to see me out here in the streets. I had to ask you what to wear today because, you know, I'm a gym shirt
Yeah.
and gym shorts kind of guy. Like, that's all I rock.
Man, you know it's crazy. I go to conferences and I see guys on stage and they wear the same thing for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
And here's some of us, you know, I picked up some guys from the airport one time. They flew in on a private jet. They didn't even iron. Like, and then I picked them back up from the hotel the next day, and similarly, they were wearing the same exact. But these guys own banks.
Yeah.
So
it's like, what are you going to tell them?
yeah, but you know, that shows where they put their energy to.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't even care how they dress. They show up.
What does it matter, right?
Yeah.
That was new to me. That took me a minute. Could be good with wearing the shorts and the t-shirt. But now I'm like, I own a gym. I'm in the wellness space.
Yeah, it's a brand.
I might leave Thrive co-working space right now and go for a run
Right.
through Railroad Park.
And it's your brand.
It's just who I am.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not a suit and tie kind of guy. I never have been.
So, speaking of habits, what are some daily habits that set you up for success? I know you talked a little bit about that in the beginning and throughout, you know, the interview, but what habit sets you up for success consistently?
The nighttime routine, that's super helpful. All the dream recovery stuff that allows me to feel my best the next day. Caffeine is my probably secret. Deep work, waking up early, without a doubt. You've never met an unsuccessful person that wakes up early.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people that say you don't have to wake up early. Do you have to? No, but I find it for me that once I get up and I beat everyone else up, I mean, by the time the average person gets up, I'm already at the office.
Yeah. You've heard like Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. I heard a podcast or a story from him once where he shared that, you know, he didn't get going until 9, 10 a.m.
He's a billionaire, though.
He's a billionaire, though. What was he doing 20 years from that?
Right.
You know, the grind is in everybody's story. There's not a millionaire out there that doesn't share that early on in their career they hustled. You know, I think if there's a flaw in this generation, it's a lot of them think they have to skip that.
Yeah, because they see social media. They see
social media. Yeah. I think that's what I'm afraid of mostly when I put it out there. Is like, oh, look at what he's showing off. It's like, no, man, you didn't know me 20 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I make it a point to show transformation. Like I show who I was 10 years ago versus who I am now, and I tell a story about what it took to get there.
Yeah.
And people tend to. Those are the things that I find that when I share them, people engage with that the most. I can give them the best business advice, but when they see my before and after stuff, they're like, wow, like that.
Before and afters. To the transformations.
Transformation.
The start to the finish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to get more real. My wife tells me it every day. She'll hear a phone call and go, babe, God, if I just recorded that.
Yeah, same thing. I tell you the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
What's the worst business advice you ever got?
What's the worst business advice I'd ever gotten? From the person sitting on the other side of the bar. The person not doing it. That's the worst business advice I ever got. Don't listen to the people that don't have what. If they're not on the same level as you, you can take their advice. I can listen to my clients on what they love most about the gym. They can tell me, hey, that workout was the best one we had yet. I love it when you play that playlist. Get that feedback all day, every day. But don't let somebody who's not operating a business tell you what to do with it.
Absolutely. So when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to look like?
I'm there. I think I'm living it right now. 25 years ago, I was telling my dad and my mom, my mom can go in our chest and find some of it. I was drawing up business plans. I was saying I wanted to own hotels and design them and market them and everything from start to finish. I'm living it, man. I see my kids every day. I play with them all the time. They're my world. My wife, when we go to Michigan, we go for 2 weeks to see her family. Like I'm living what I always wanted to do, and I think it's important that I'm catching that now. And it was a day like today, really, like my day was so awesome that I think I'm really realized, like I'm living that legacy right now. Stop going 10 years ahead. That's coming. I was already established. I did that a while ago. I don't have to worry about my future. Living the now.
Put it in one sentence. What does that look like right now?
What does a legacy look like?
Yeah, right now.
Aspiring family man, entrepreneur, risk taker, and humble.
Overall, great friend.
Overall, great friend. Yeah, like
that's
I grew up in Vestavia. I grew up on South Side, and then my family moved to Vestavia. And I'll tell you, sometimes I go back to South Side, and I'm like, okay, I like it better where I live, but at the same time, there's still a lot of great people in different parts of town.
Absolutely.
So if there's one thing I don't lose, man, I hope 20 years from now, you're not talking to me and I'm so one-sided. I hope that I continue to see like the world for what it truly is and remember every kind of person.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's end on this. There's an entrepreneur watching this episode right now. They're frustrated. They're overwhelmed. It seems like business life may not be going the way that they feel like it should be going. What's the one message you want them to walk away with?
I would challenge you to also take a step back and see where it is. Sometimes I think you get to where you want to be, and then you're there for so long that you forget that you're out of the gap that you were in, right? So if you aspire to make $1,000 a month, and then you finally got there, and now you're struggling at that $1,000 a month, so you think something's wrong. But just remember that you were once here. Absolutely. So you are up that notch. You are taking it to the next level. Get around the right people. Don't be afraid to learn from others. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there too. That's the biggest mistake I made. If I was doing the content created early on, man, you and I'd be in a different conversation.
Absolutely. Man, this has been amazing, bro. Like, I knew we were going to have a great conversation, but I learned a lot.
Once I saw your questions, I knew we were going to be.
Yeah.
I was excited.
Man, I learned a lot, and I know the audience is going to get a lot of value from this. So last takeaway, where can they find you?
Personally, Boulos Paul Shunnarah on Instagram and Facebook. And then Gauntlet Fitness on Instagram, at Fit5 Meals on Instagram. My investment companies and stuff like that are they're not tagged or anything like that. But yeah, you could find me there, paul@fit5meals.com if you want to email me. And love to chat, love to help anybody wherever I can, and love to hear about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, well, this has been amazing, bro. And you got to come back for part 2, man. I don't think these conversations are just going to end one time.
No, we'll have to do this.
Yeah, because you got some other stuff we didn't even get to talk about, that you're still building. And I didn't know how much you wanted to talk about it until they were released. But one concept that you talked about during our last meeting, which is going to change the way things are done in that space.
On-demand childcare.
On-demand childcare.
Yeah.
So we got to come back and unpack that next time. Once
that's one of the coolest things that I've got going that I'm super excited about.
Well, let's save that for the next one, and I'm opening up a loop so they can follow you and see all about that.
Awesome,
man. I appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
appreciate you guys.
So with that said, we
Hopefully y'all left inspired.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that felt good, man.